What's up everybody, my name is Danon and welcome to Ahnestly. I've noticed that a lot of you guys are picking this chair up. This is the MFavour Ergonomic office chair, and coming in at about $220 US, this is a budget-ish chair. And I reached out to these guys to see if they could send one over because I wanted to know what all the hype was about. And this is my first attempt to find a really solid budget chair in that $100 to $300 price range, because I know a lot of people, a lot of you guys are looking for back relief, but you're not willing to sell your children off to get it, which I totally get, I totally respect. And so if you guys think you have a strong contender for the best chair in that price range, make sure you guys leave it in the comments below so that hopefully I'll be able to check it out. And before we get started, just really quickly, I have a lot of chairs coming my way. Mavix has sent over their $1,000 gaming chair that you've seen online as tech tips. Secret Lab has sent over their Secretish chair, which we'll get to later as well. And Sidiz has sent over their $1,000 office chair. It's a Korean brand. So super excited for those. Hope you guys get subs so you can look out for those videos. And I promise I haven't forgotten about tech. We're doing some PC builds here later on in the month. So with all that being said, guys, let's get honest. If you guys want to pick up this chair, make sure you use the code down below to get a certain percentage off. I don't know what the code or the percentage is right now, but again, I'll list it down below. This chair is a little bit bigger than most chairs. I believe that this chair was designed for people who are 5'8" and taller. I'll leave whatever that is in metrics down below. And I say that because when I sit in it, I'm 5'6", 5'7" on a good day, and my feet just barely touch the ground. You know, the proper seating posture would be your knees are a little bit above 90 with your feet flat on the floor, and my feet just barely get there. And again, I'm 5'6", 5'7" on a good day. But there are some other reasons why I believe this chair is meant for taller people, and I'll get to that in a minute. But if you are someone who is shorter, you gotta look elsewhere. Unfortunately, this chair is not for you. Now, if you look at this chair, there are three things about it that just kind of scream different in the budget price range. The first is gonna be the mesh material. So this chair is made of mesh on the bottom and on the back. A lot of these budget chairs have mesh on the back or mesh just only on the bottom, something like that. It's got a headrest, which is pretty cool. And then it's got this badonkadonk of a lumbar support. So let's start with those three features and then we'll get into, covering the entire feature set of the chair. All right, so let's start with the badonkadonk of a lumbar here. This thing is a mixed bag. In one sense, it's good because it's all mesh. And some of these chairs that come with lumbar support have a pad that really just kind of presses into your back in such a way that's like really aggressive and really painful. This, on the other hand, is really aggressive, but because it's made with mesh, it's soft, right? So that's something to keep in mind. I will say that because you can't really adjust the mesh though, like you can't adjust how much lumbar there is, it's just like that all the time. You are going full throttle, 100% lumbar all the time. Now for me personally, I am totally okay with moderate lumbar all the time. But if you're doing full throttle, hard lumbar support, I'm gonna need to take a rest once in a while. And for me personally, I did find myself getting a little bit sore or finding myself with poor posture because the lumbar was so aggressive that in order to avoid it, I found myself kind of slouching in my chair, moving my booty up a little bit so that I could just get some relief off of the lumbar. The reason why I'm not sitting in it is because this is a really tight shot right now. This is shot in a really wide angle because I have a tiny bit of space because my office is still under construction right now. So that's why I'm not necessarily sitting in it. I'll do it for the sake of the camera, but it's really tight right now. So if you guys look at that, it is really digging into my lower back. And again, me being a little bit smaller than what I think this chair was intended for, I don't think it's hitting the spot that it's supposed to. I think it's supposed to be a little bit lower down on the back. But for me, it's like climbing into the mid back. So again, it could be that I'm shorter, but I do firmly believe that because it's so aggressive, you may find yourself feeling uncomfortable from time to time or sitting with poor posture to avoid that lumbar from time to time. Now, moving on to the mesh. The mesh is not bad actually. I don't know what I was expecting, but I was expecting really poor support on the bottom, but surprisingly, it holds me up fairly well. And because it's mesh, it's gonna be breathable. The downside to this mesh though, in this budget price point, is that it is very rough. Like if I run my fingers across it, my fingertips hurt. What that means is that there is a very slim chance that anyone will be comfortable in this if your skin makes direct contact with this mesh, which means if you're wearing booty shorts for some reason, or you are wearing a sleeveless shirt or something, whatever you want to wear, you guys do whatever you want. There's a chance that if it contacts your skin, you're gonna feel pretty uncomfortable. So that is a pretty big con about this mesh. But otherwise, surprisingly supportive. And there's a little bit of padding here on the front, which is actually one of my favorite features about the chair, but I'll leave you guys suspense. I'm gonna cover that when I go through the rest of the chair. And then the final piece is this headrest. This headrest here, again, for this price point, the fact that it comes with a headrest is pretty impressive, but this headrest is not impressive. So first of all, let me just, look how much play that has. Maybe you guys can see it better if I go like this, right? But look how much play this headrest has. It's very, it's not flimsy is not the right word, but it wiggles a lot. The other thing about this headrest is, even though it can swivel up and down, and then it can be lifted up and down like that, it can't slide in and out. And that becomes problematic because, and I do have to sit for this, because if you are sitting in your chair and you're sitting straight up, well, the natural position of the headrest is so far back that you have to like crank your head back to get it there, or to get the headrest, to get that headrest support. And that not only causes discomfort on your neck and strain on your neck, but more importantly, it makes you look super ugly, because when you do it, it creates that double chin, or in my case, a like quintuple chin, right? So that is not the best aspect. This headrest is not the best aspect. The other thing I don't love about it is that adjusting it when you're sitting down is really hard. It uses this ratchet style adjustment, and it can be really difficult to adjust. And if you're not careful, like I was the other day, it will slam down right on your neck bone. Oh man, it's still really sore. I still have a huge bruise from there on there because of that. So you gotta be really careful with this headrest and how you maneuver it. Now, you might be asking, well, what about when you lean back? Is it good then? And I say, yes, it's perfectly fine if you're leaning back. It's perfectly okay, and it does exactly what it needs to do. It supports your head. But here's again where you see that this chair was clearly designed with taller folks in mind, because when you lean back, an ideal headrest, at least I think an ideal headrest, the curve of the headrest should sit kind of in that neck curve of your neck. And so it gives you not only head support, but it also supports your neck, so that when you're leaned back, you can look forward and be fine. But I don't know if you guys can actually see this, but when I actually lean back, you can see that this rounded thing is not hitting this at all. It's not hitting my neck curve at all. And it doesn't go any lower than this, right? Which is again why I think this chair was designed for slightly taller folks. And if you lean like this and you're short, you can feel the bottom plastic of the headrest sitting on your neck bone. And I feel it especially more because it's bruised there from when I bruised it when I slammed down the headrest onto my neck. Now you might be thinking, oh, okay, so nothing on this chair is great. Like the three big features of why I would buy this chair are not great. And I'd say, yeah, okay, that's fair. But you have to remember that this is a fraction of the cost of like a Herman Miller Aeron. And with that money saved, you could deck out your office space with more ergonomic stuff. You could get yourself really nice ergonomic arms for your monitors. You can get yourself a really decked out standing desk as well. So those are some other investments you could make if you're willing to sacrifice some stuff on your chair to pick up something budget like this. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so now that I've covered kind of the main features, the mesh, the lumbar support, as well as the headrest, now I'm gonna go from the bottom to top and cover all of its features and kind of give my 2 cents here and there. Starting as always from the bottom and then making our way up. So starting with these casters, the website claims that these are silent casters, but it might be because the chair is just kind of rattly, but these aren't very silent. And also it doesn't clarify whether they're hardwood or hard floor or carpet casters. In my testing, these casters are designed for carpet. When I was on wood, it was a little bit more stable, but you could still feel minor rolling around. So if you plan on picking these up and using it on hard floors, you might want to change those casters out. Moving up to the legs, I like that the legs are a little bit, that polished chrome look. I doubt it's chrome, but it looks polished chrome, which I always enjoy in a chair. And what I really like is that the surface is flat. And that's gonna be cool for people like me who like to put your feet on top of the legs, and because it's flat, your feet don't slip off the side. So yeah, if you're somebody like that, then you might enjoy that feature. Underneath the chair is a giant knob, and that knob is going to control the back tension for when you lean back. and it's really annoying to reach. Like you have to physically get out of the chair in order to adjust that, which is not great. I've never loved that about some of these chairs. Unfortunately, you do have to do that with this chair. So moving up now to the lever here. This lever on the right side, there's only one lever on this chair, and you basically adjust the chair, everything on this chair with this one lever. The first one is gonna be the vertical adjustment, and you basically push this tab forward, and if you push the tab forward, then it will go down, or if you stand up, then the chair will come up. And that is that. The other thing you can do is if you go ahead and pull that lever, oh, what's going on? Yeah, if you pull that lever out, then it unlocks the back of your chair so that you can go basically into an unlimited back tilt up to like 40 degrees or something like that, right? So this is kind of as far back as it'll go. And then one really cool feature about this chair that's not found on some of these $1,500 chairs is that if you are in the middle of, like if you're leaning back, you can push in that lever and it's gonna lock you in place. And I love that. This is one of my favorite features about gaming chairs, and it's something that like I'm shocked that a lot of these really expensive chairs don't have. But this is awesome because if you've never read or watched something on your computer in this form, like in this mode, you're not living. That's an over-exaggeration, right? But it is really nice to be able to read or watch things on your computer leaned back like this. Now, these really expensive chairs, you're able to stay leaned back like this, but in order to do so, you have to really loosen the back tilt tension until it's like almost non-existent, and then you can get in this position. But even then, if you shift your weight even a little bit, the chair will come flying forward. So this freeze thing is really nice, and this chair allows you to do it at 3 angles. So the first one is at 90 degrees, right, to lock you so you can't wiggle at all. Then it's got it at, I think, at 110 degrees, so somewhere around here. And then the last one's gonna be at 130 degrees, almost all the way down. So really love that feature about this chair, and it is one of the best things about this chair. I love that it has it, and the fact that it comes with a headrest makes that align perfectly. So bravo to MFavour for doing that. All right, so that is the lever in a nutshell. Now let's move up to the mesh. The mesh is one of my favorite, or the seat pan, sorry, is one of the favorite parts about this chair. I've already talked about the mesh and how it's very, very, very rough. But what's really cool is that at the front here, hold on, I'm gonna sit off this chair because, you know, the comments, right? The front of this chair has a pad underneath the mesh, and it's a nice soft pad, and it prevents from that pain that people get kind of under the leg here from Aarons and such like that, which have a really hard piece of plastic in the front. So they have a full, like this entire lip here is mesh, is fabric underneath the mesh. But what's really, really, really cool is that this fabric reaches around over to the edge of the chair, the side edge of the chair. So it looks like this. And that's really cool because for the ergonomic rebels out there that like to cross your legs, if you are not one of those weird people who wear shoes in the house and you wear no shoes or socks or whatever else in the house besides shoes, then your feet are not going to be resting on hard plastic or on rough, well, it'll be on rough mesh, but it won't be sitting on hard plastic because what's on your feet? It's that padding, and that's really, really, really cool. I don't know if it was like purposefully designed that way, but it is really nice because that means your feet are nice and like on a nice squishy surface as opposed to, again, a really hard surface. So, you know, ergonomic rebels rejoice. This is really nice. And again, because this chair was meant for slightly wider folks, you can see that it's gonna be pretty good. Like I'm sitting very comfortably right now, cross-legged, and you can see that I've got a good amount of space for my legs to kind of wiggle and even to expand out if pending I raise the arms up a little bit. Now, let's get to the arms here. So you can see that this chair was clearly designed, again, with taller folks in mind because, and I have small shoulders, I think strangely small shoulders, but if I'm in a natural, like seated position, my shoulders are naturally resting, and I come down with my arms, I am just barely resting on that armrest. And so again, this is one of those points that show that maybe this chair had taller folks in mind or just bigger folks in mind. And so, yeah, it doesn't have and then you can't adjust them in and out. So that's one of the things to note about these arms. Now you can pivot them in and out, but I always find this pivot very odd. Like this is supposed to be inward, but if I land it, then my arms are here, like my wrist, my forearm is there, but nothing else is touching the pad. Like I don't get, and a lot of chairs do this. I don't understand the design. So yeah, it can swivel in and out, and then it can go up and down, as I showed before. And then a nice little feature is it's able to go forward and back a pretty good distance actually. So there's that for the arms. It's nothing special. I wish it was able to come in and out in some way, but it can't do that. Now, something to keep in mind, because somebody had talked about this, and this was a deal breaker for them, is that when you lean back in the chair, the armrests stay static, meaning that they do not lean back with you. On more expensive chairs, like all the Herman Miller chairs, the arms come lean back with you. And it's nice because think about it, if you're here, if this is your natural arm position and you lean back, this is not your natural arm position anymore, right? Like it's awkward keeping your arms in the same position. So on some of the more expensive chairs, when you lean back, your arms will basically stay in the same kind of 90-degree that you were at when you were sitting straight forward. So that's something to note. It's probably the fact that it's a little bit more of a budget chair. So yeah, I wanted to call that out. Okay, that is pretty much it, right? This chair is a pretty simple chair. Again, it's not cheap by any means. It's $220. Now, do I recommend it for $220? Well, I would say that really depends on you. Are you somebody who is okay with the Badonkadonk super aggressive mesh, which is still pretty soft, right? Like softer than some aggressive meshes that I've used before, where it's just like a pad just jutting into your back. It's still pretty nice. Are you okay, and are you able to kind of deal with this really harsh textured mesh here? And are you someone who is okay with kind of like a rattly headrest? And are you also somebody who's over 5'8"? If that's you, and you don't want to break the bank for a chair, I would say it's worth picking up. If you're someone shorter, unfortunately, I think it's going to be a deal breaker, and you probably want to look elsewhere. And if you're someone who's kind of like, look, I want breathability, but I like wearing shorts in the summer. That's the whole point why I got mesh, is because I get hot, and in the summer, I want to be able to dress down. And if I'm wearing shorts and it's going to cut me on my bottom of the legs, then why would I get this chair? Then again, total deal breaker for you. But if you're not in those categories, then again, it might be worth picking up this chair. I will leave a promo code down in the link below so you guys can get a certain percentage off. I don't know exactly what yet, but that's gonna be it for this one, guys. If you like this video, again, give it a thumbs up, sub, do all that good stuff. Let me know if you guys have any suggestions, any contenders for the best, cost efficient, budget $100, $300 price point office chair. And until next time, guys, stay safe. And as always, stay honest.